The war was over. The stars were quiet now. But for Queen Virelia of the Zelari Dominion, this peace felt like a curse. She stood alone in the grand hall of the fallen Zelari palace. The once beautiful crystal walls were cracked. Statues of great Zelari. Leaders were broken, their pieces scattered across the marble floor. Fires still burned outside the shattered windows. Smoke filled the air, mixing with the scent of metal and blood. Her long cloak, dark as space itself, dragged behind her. Golden eyes sharp, once full of command, now looked tired. She held a small glowing orb in her hand. It was her sister's memory crystal. Cold, empty, silent. "Khalith," she whispered, "forgive me." Virelia's sister, Princess Khalith, had died during the last week of the war. No body was found, only pieces of her armor and a destroyed communication unit. She was the only family Virelia had left. Now even that was gone. Far above the ruined planet, aboard a large coalition medical ship, Lieutenant Darius Corrin walked through a quiet hallway. The lights flickered as the ship orbited the broken world below. He was a human soldier, combat medic, still wearing the torn armor from the last battle. His face had a fresh scar across the cheek, and his left arm was in a brace. He had saved many lives during the war, human and alien both. But today, he was not saving anyone. Today he was investigating. Darius stepped into a research bay, where strange devices hummed and floated. This was a lab filled with alien tech captured from Zelari bases. Most of it was being studied by coalition scientists, but one item had caught Darius's attention. It was a strange silver device shaped like a flower, its petals glowing faintly blue. "What's this one?" he asked the AI assistant nearby. "Unidentified Zelari neural interface," the AI replied. "Partially damaged. It contains fragmented data, possibly biological memory." Darius leaned closer, frowning. He'd seen something like this once before on the battlefield, near where Princess Khalith was last reported. "Can you run a scan?" he asked. The AI beeped, scanning. Memory trace detected. Identity match. 89% certainty. Cell Harry, royal family. Subject, Khalith. Iris's eyes widened. He stood there in silence, heart beating fast. Could it be? Back on Zelari Prime, Queen Virelia stood before a large flame. This was the eternal flame of mourning, a sacred place for her people. She had spent hours there, saying nothing, doing nothing, just standing, remembering her generals had begged her to leave the planet. Coalition ships still flew overhead. Drones patrolled the cities. There were rumors of humans taking Zelari relics from the temples, but she had refused to leave. Not until she found a way to bring her sister back, or die trying. That was when a message came. From a human Lieutenant Darius Corrin, the name read. Urgent discovery regarding Princess Khalith. Her guards didn't want her to respond. But the Queen ordered them aside. She opened the message. Your Majesty, the human's voice said in the transmission. I believe I have found something that belongs to your sister. Her neural signature. If you will allow it, I would like to return it to you in person. Virelia stared at the screen for a long time. She did not trust humans. Their weapons had torn her cities apart. Their alliance had crushed the Zelari fleet. But this one, he was a medic. A healer, not a killer. She made her decision. Bring him, she ordered. 2 days later, a small human shuttle landed near the palace ruins. Virelia stood waiting, surrounded by her elite guards. Her armor was shining again, repaired and polished. She wore her crown, even though the throne was gone. Her pride would not allow her to look weak. Darius stepped off the shuttle, holding a small sealed container. He walked slowly, showing respect. He bowed slightly, not too much, but just enough. Your Majesty, he said calmly. Thank you. For allowing me here, Virelia said nothing at first. Her golden eyes studied him carefully. He was younger than she expected, and tired. Not just in body, but in soul. Show me, she finally said. Darius opened the container and held up the silver flower-shaped device. The Queen's eyes narrowed. This was found near the battlefield where your sister vanished, he explained. We scanned it. Her neural code is inside. Damaged, but present. Virelia stepped closer. Her hand hovered above the device but did not touch it. It could be a trick, she whispered. A trap. I know, Darius said. But it isn't. Would you bring this to me? She asked because she deserves to be remembered, and maybe there's a chance she's not entirely gone. Varelia looked into his eyes. She saw no lie, no trick, just a strange, deep sadness. She reached out and took the device from his hands. The moment she touched it, the petals lit up. A soft hum filled the air. A faint voice echoed in her mind. Sister. Varelia gasped, stepping back. Darius caught her arm before she fell. You heard it too? He asked. She nodded slowly. Tears welled in her eyes, but she did not let them fall. That night, Varelia stood in her private chamber, alone with the device. The voice had faded, but it had been real. Could her sister be alive in this strange machine? Was there hope after all? Darius had asked to stay. She had allowed it. Against all logic, against every warning, she had said yes. She remembered her sister's last words, spoken weeks before the final battle. If I die, promise me you'll try. Not to fight, not to hate, but to heal. Now a human soldier had come to help her do exactly that. Outside, the stars watched in silence. The war was over. But the real story was just beginning. Queen Varelia stared out at the dead city from her chamber balcony. The wind carried ash and dust, along with faint smells of burning metal. Once, her capital had been full of light, music, and laughter. Now it was quiet, empty, a city of ghosts inside. Her chamber, the silver flower-like device, sat on a stone table. It pulsed with soft blue light. Every few hours, it gave off a faint sound, like a whisper. Her sister's voice, faint, broken but real. She did not know how to feel. She was afraid to believe. Hope was dangerous. She had learned that during the war. In the palace courtyard, Lieutenant Darius Corrin stood under the watch of 10 Zellari guards. Their armor was smooth, dark, and full of strange symbols. Their eyes glowed faintly. They watched him like a hawk watches prey. Darius stayed calm. He had been through worse. A young Zellari aide approached him. Her Majesty will see you now, she said, her voice flat and cold. He nodded and followed her through the broken halls. Rubble and cracks were everywhere, but the palace still held power like the bones of a dead god. They entered a chamber, filled with glowing stones. Varelia stood at the center, tall and still, her eyes unreadable. You have come again, she said. You asked for me, Darius replied. Varelia nodded. I listened to the device. The voice is hers. My sister. But it's broken, fragmented. She's not fully gone, Darius said. The neural echo is strong. We can rebuild it. We, repeated, raising an eyebrow. Jew. Think I will trust a human to touch my sister's mind? I'm not asking for trust. I'm asking for a chance. It was silence for a moment. One of her guards stepped forward, his weapon half drawn, but Varelia raised her hand, stopping him. She stared at Darius. He did not flinch. You are strange, she said softly. You come from a race of warriors and fire, yet you speak like a healer. I've seen enough death, he replied. I want to give something back. She studied him a moment longer. Follow me, she said. They walked together deep into the heart of the ruined palace, past sealed doors, past old statues. A cold chamber filled with ancient Zellari machines. This is the vault of memories, Varelia said. Here are people stored pieces of their minds, for study, for honor, some say for resurrection. The machines glowed faintly. Crystal panels. Floating orbs. Strange rings of light. Darius looked around with wonder. Incredible, he whispered. This is where we will try, she said. He turned to her. What do we need? Varelia held up the silver flower device. This holds the echo. But to bring her back, we need 3 things. Stability, structure. In emotion, the body is easy. The soul is not. Then let's start. For the next several days, they worked together. Human tech mixed with Zellari knowledge. Darius connected portable coalition A's to Zellari memory banks. Virelia adjusted crystal circuits with delicate fingers. They argued often about methods, tools, even philosophy. Darius believed in flexibility, in learning from failure. Icaria believed in control, in perfection. One night, Darius leaned against a pillar, wiping sweat from his brow. "You ever sleep?" he asked her. Virelia looked up from her console. "Not much," he chuckled. "The same, can't stop thinking about what happens if this works." She looked at him carefully. "And if it doesn't?" He grew quiet. "Then, I hope we still tried." Virelia turned back to her console, but her hands were shaking. On the 5th day, something changed. A spark ran through the lab. Burst of light from the flower device. The vault screens lit up, forming a web of symbols. "She's trying to speak," Darius said. Eyes wide, Virelia stepped forward. "Can we isolate the memory pattern?" "I think so," he said, typing quickly. "But it's not complete." Suddenly, a voice echoed through the room. "Virelia." The queen froze. "Khalith," she whispered. Where am I?" "Cold. Fire. Help me." Darius stared at the screen. "It's her." But she's confused. The image on the screen showed fragments of her sister's mind. Memories, feelings, some bright, others dark. A battlefield. A child's song. A scream. "We have to stabilize it," he said. Virelia nodded, wiping tears from her eyes. "Do it." Later that evening, as the system cooled, Darius sat by a crystal table. Virelia joined him, carrying 2 cups of dark liquid. "Drink," she said. He took the cup. "Is this safe?" She gave a small smile. "If I wanted to kill you, I wouldn't waste poison." He sipped it. It was bitter, but warm. Virelia looked out the window. "My sister loved the stars. She always said they were singing." "Sounds kind." "She was brave," Virelia said. "Gentle. She believed we could end the war without blood. I didn't listen." Darius said nothing for a while. Then he said, "You're trying now." "Aye, that counts." Virelia looked at him, surprised. "You really believe that?" "I do." They sat in silence for a long time. The next day, disaster struck. The system overloaded. Lights burst. The flower device screamed with static. "Something's wrong," Darius shouted. The lab's power grid crashed. A burst of energy hit a console. Sparks flew. Darius jumped in front of Virelia, shielding her. When the smoke cleared, he was on the floor, bleeding from the shoulder. Virelia rushed to his side. "Why did you do that?" He coughed, wincing. "Reflex. I don't let people I care about get hurt." She stared at him. Her hand touched his face, just for a second. "You are a strange human," she whispered. That night, while Darius rested, Virelia sat beside him. She replayed the memory recording from the flower device. Her sister's voice, clearer now. "Sister, forgive. Believe. I'm here." Tears slid down Virelia's face. She leaned forward, whispering, "I will bring you back. I promise." Then she turned to look at the sleeping human beside her. Together. The morning after the explosion in the lab, Queen Virelia sat alone beside the damaged systems. Sparks still flickered from broken panels. One of the memory cores had cracked, spilling out glowing dust that drifted like fireflies in the air. But the flower-shaped device still pulsed with life. Her sister's echo was still inside, waiting. Virelia closed her eyes. She could hear Khalith's voice in her mind, soft, like a forgotten song. "Sister, still here?" Adius woke slowly in the medical chamber. His shoulder was bandaged. Pain throbbed through his arm. The room was quiet except for the hum of healing machines. A tall figure stood at the doorway. It was Virelia. "You're awake," she said softly. He nodded. "Feels like I got hit by a tank." She walked in, holding a small crystal tablet. "You saved me." "I guess that makes us even," he said with a weak smile. She didn't smile back, but she sat beside him and placed the tablet on the table. "I fixed the core systems. The damage was worse than I thought, but the echo survived." Darius sat up slowly. "Is it stable now?" For now, she said. But something is changing inside it. Changing how? She's evolving. Her mind is trying to rebuild itself, but without a body, without anchors, it's unstable. Oh. She could collapse again. Or worse. What do we need? Virelia looked at him, her face calm but serious. A host. They stood together in the vault later that day. Round them, machines blinked, scanned, and buzzed. The flower device floated inside a glowing field. She needs structure, Virelia said. Something to hold the pieces of her mind together, just for a while, like a bridge. Darius frowned. You're talking about a neural connection? Yes. You want to use my brain for this? She looked at him carefully. Your neural patterns are adaptable. Human minds can connect to external A's easier than Zellari ones. You also have experience with hybrid systems, yeah, but she's your sister? Isn't there someone else? There's no one else I trust? That silence again. Darius rubbed the back of his neck. This could fry my brain, right? Yes. Great. He looked at her, then at the glowing device. He remembered Khalith's voice, faint but kind. He remembered the sadness in Virelia's eyes when she spoke about her, all right, he said. Let's do it. The setup took hours. Darius lay inside a neural chair connected to dozens of wires. The flower device hovered beside him, its petals fully open now, glowing bright blue. Virelia stood at the control panel, her fingers dancing over the controls. You must stay calm, she said. If your emotions spike too high, the system will collapse. Darius smiled weakly. So no panic attacks? Preferably not? He took a deep breath. Okay, I'm ready. She flipped the switch. Pain. Light. Voices. Darius felt like he was falling into a sea of stars. Then everything stopped. He stood inside a strange world. Floating memories surrounded him, images of a young Zellari girl. Glowing trees, laughter, music, fire. Screaming, he turned around. There she was. Kale. Her body shimmered like starlight. Her face was gentle, her eyes full of wonder and fear. Who are you? She asked. I'm Darius, a friend of your sister, Virelia. Khalith whispered. Is she alive? She is, he said softly. She's trying to bring you back. Khalith looked around. The world around her pulsed with color and light, like a dream trying to stay alive. I'm broken, she said. I remember dying, then waking. But nothing makes sense. Darius reached out. You're not alone. She touched his hand. The world shimmered again. More memories returned. Her childhood, her first battle, the last time she saw Virelia. Too much, she said, shaking her head. It hurts. You're strong, he said. Stronger than you think. I'm scared. So am I, he said with a grin. But I think we're doing okay. For the first time she smiled. Outside in the real world, Virelia watched the readings. Stabilization holding, she muttered. Neural bond at 83%. Remarkable. Then alarms flashed. Warning. Emotional overload detected. Virelia's eyes narrowed. Darius. She quickly adjusted the interface, easing the signal flow. The flower device glowed hot white for a second, then settled inside the neural world. Khalith had collapsed, holding her head. My mind, it's splitting. Darius knelt beside her. You have to focus. Don't let the pain take over. But something dark rose behind them. Shadow made of Khalith's fear, her anger, her death, the memory of war. It spoke with her voice but twisted. They killed us. Burned our world. We should have destroyed them all, Khalith screamed. No, that's not who I am. The shadow turned to Darius. You are the enemy. You don't belong. Darius stood up. Ow. Maybe. But I'm still here. Helping. But he stepped. Between the shadow and Khalith? If you want to take her, he said, you'll have to go through me. The shadow roared and struck him. In the real world, Darius's body jerked. His heart rate spiked. Neural breach, the system warned. Virelia's hand hovered over the emergency cutoff. If she pressed it, the link would break, and Khalith would be lost again. But she didn't press it. Instead, she whispered, "Come back, both of you." Inside the neural space, Darius got up slowly, bleeding from the side of his head. Khalith crawled toward him. "You're hurt." "I've been worse," he said, smiling. "You can't win against it," she said. "Maybe not. But we can. Fight it together." She looked at the shadow, now circling them. "I'm not just pain," she whispered. "I'm not just memory." She stood. "I'm Khalitha the Zalari. I am light. I am life." Her form burst into golden fire. The shadow screamed and broke apart, vanishing into stars. Silence fell. When Darius opened his eyes, Varelia was kneeling beside him. He gasped, breathing hard. "She's alive," he said. Varelia touched his face. "You did it." "No," he whispered. "We did it." She smiled, truly smiled for the first time. Later that night, he stood in the vault again. The flower device had changed. It was now a crystal core, glowing softly inside it. A voice spoke Varelia. Varelia stepped forward, eyes full of tears. "Khalith," she whispered. "I'm still here." The sisters spoke long into the night, while Darius watched from the side. He had seen many things in his life: war, death, sacrifice. But this was something else. Hope. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the crystal core. Khalith's voice came from it, clear and steady now. But she was still trapped inside the device. Her presence was a light in the darkness, but not yet free. Queen Varelia paced. The vault of memories. Her golden eyes searched for answers in the glowing symbols around her. The war had ended, but a new fight was coming. One no one expected. "We can't keep her inside forever," Varelia said quietly. "Khalith deserves more than this prison."
Ice.
Darius sat nearby, tired but alert. His human body still felt weak from the neural link. "I've been thinking about that," he said. "If we want to bring her back fully, we need to rebuild her body." Varelia nodded. "The Zalari technology can create artificial bodies, but it's difficult. They won't be perfect." "Better than nothing," Darius replied. They began preparations immediately. The old Zalari factories had been damaged in the war, but the palace still held some functioning machines. Varelia ordered her engineers to work day and night. Darius spent his time studying the ancient blueprints alongside the Zalari scientists. The machines were complex, half biological, half mechanical. They worked by blending crystal energy with living cells. "Do you think Khalith will recognize the new body?" he asked one evening. Varelia looked up from the schematics. "She is more than flesh. But yes, I think she will." Days turned into weeks. The artificial body slowly took shape in the grand lab. It was sleek, elegant, and strong. Designed in the image of Khalith's memories. One night, as the new body neared completion, Darius received a message on his device. "Lieutenant Corin," the voice said, cold and sharp. "We need you back at the Coalition Command. Urgent." Darius frowned. "What for?" "There's new intelligence. Possible rebel activity near the Outer Rim. It involves Zalari factions." He looked at Varelia. Her expression was serious. "We cannot ignore it," she said. Darius sighed. "I have to go." Varelia nodded. "I understand. Come back quickly." On his way to the Coalition ship, Darius couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The Outer Rim was a dangerous place, full of lawless planets and pirate bands. But this threat felt bigger. When he arrived at command, the officers briefed him. "Rebels are gathering old Zalari weapons," one said. "They want to restart the war." Darius clenched his fists. "How many?" "Thousands. And they have new allies and known aliens with advanced tech." The room fell silent. "Is there a link to Khalith's return?" Darius asked. The commander shook his head. "Not yet. Your mission is to find out." Back on Zalari Prime, Varelia waited anxiously. The new body was finished. Khalith's consciousness had been transferred into it. The room glowed as the power was switched on. The body's eyes opened golden and bright. Khalith stood, her movements fluid and graceful. She looked at Varelia, and a smile touched her lips. "I'm here," she said softly. Varelia's heart soared. "Welcome back, sister." But their joy was short-lived. Alarms blared throughout the palace. Drones buzzed outside the gates. Rebel forces had arrived. Varelia's generals rushed in. "They are attacking. We must defend the city." Khalith stepped forward. "Let me fight." Varelia nodded. "You are ready?" The battle was fierce. Rebel ships tore through the sky. Ground troops stormed the walls. Khalith moved like a storm fast and powerful. She wielded energy weapons with deadly skill. Her new body was stronger than any soldier's. Darius returned just in time to join the fight. Together, the humans and Zelari fought side by side, but the rebels had a secret weapon, a giant war machine covered in black armor. It fired devastating blasts, pushing the defenders back. Varelia ordered the defenses to focus fire. Khalith charged forward, dodging blasts. She reached the war machine and struck it with her energy blade. Sparks flew, circuits fried. The machine exploded, throwing rebels everywhere. After the battle, the city was quiet again. But Varelia knew this was just the beginning. She stood with Khalith and Darius on the palace balcony. "We will rebuild," she said together. Khalith added. Darius smiled, "and we'll face whatever comes next." The stars above shone brighter than before. A new dawn was rising. The sun rose over Zelari Prime, casting golden light across the quiet city. The battle was over for now. But the sky still held smoke. Soldiers cleaned the streets. Engineers repaired broken walls. Everyone knew this peace would not last long. In the throne chamber, Queen Varelia stood before the tall windows. Her long silver robe flowed behind her. Her golden eyes stared into the horizon. Khalith entered, her steps quiet but sure. Her new body moved with grace. It looked like her old self, but stronger. She had become something new, part memory, part machine, part soul. "You're thinking again?" Khalith said with a gentle smile. "I always think," Varelia replied. "Especially now. The rebels will return." "They're growing," Khalith said. "We felt it in the battle. Someone is guiding them," as Varelia said. "Someone who wants to finish the war we tried to end." At that moment, Darius entered the room. He looked tired, wearing his human battle armor. A scar ran down his cheek now, a gift from the last fight. "I found something," he said. "You need to see this." They gathered in the war room. Hollow map glowed above the table. Darius tapped a few buttons, and a hidden region of space appeared. "The rebels have moved their fleet here," he explained. "Dark space. Off the star charts. We almost missed it." Varelia studied the map. This place was forbidden even during the old empire. Khalith tilted her head. "What's there?" Darius took a breath. "A machine world. Dead now. But some tech remains. And if they control it, they could restart the war across the galaxy," Varelia finished. "Worse," Darius said, "they could rebuild the old Zelari superweapons." The room went silent. Varelia finally said, "Then we strike first." The journey to the machine world took 3 days. Darius, Khalith, and Varelia led a small team of elite soldiers, engineers, and a few trusted pilots. Their ship, a starborn flame, moved through silent space. No stars lit their way. Khalith stood by the window, watching the blackness. "I died once," she said softly. "Now I feel like I'm heading toward death again." Darius stood beside her. "You're not dying this time." "How do you know?" "Because I'll protect you." She looked at him, her eyes warm. "You always say that." "I always mean it." They reached the machine world on the 4th day. It floated like a giant dead heart, covered in metal, sharp towers, and twisted wires. No lights, no movement. But scanners picked up power signatures deep inside. Varelia gave the order. "We go in fast. No mistakes." The starborn flame landed on a broken platform. The team stepped out, weapons ready. The air was cold. The ground cracked under their feet. They entered the main hall, an ancient factory filled with shadows and broken machines. Then something moved. A tall figure stepped from the dark. It wore dark armor, and its face was hidden behind a metal mask. Its voice echoed through the chamber. Queen Virelia. Calith Darius. Welcome. Darius aimed his blaster. Who are you? The figure removed its mask. Virelia gasped. It was a Zelari, one they all knew? General Karn, she whispered.
I is the guy.
Karn smiled cruelly. That's what you thought, but I survived. I saw the truth. You betrayed the Zelari Empire, Virelia said. No, Karn said. I saved it. You and your sister ended our reign, made peace with the humans. But our people are meant to rule. He turned toward Calith. And you, he hissed, should have stayed dead. Calith raised her weapon. You're wrong. I've seen what peace means, and I'll fight for it. Then die for it again. Karn growled. He raised his hand and the machines came alive. The walls opened, revealing giant drones and war machines. Guns, blades, and fire. Virelia shouted, defensive formation. The battle began, Darius moved fast, firing his blaster. Calith dodged lasers and leaped through the air. Cutting down enemy bots with glowing blades, Virelia used her powers and ancient Zelari energy to destroy enemies with light. Karn vanished into the shadows. Darius followed him deeper into the machine world. He ran through dark halls filled with old tech and echoes. Finally, he found Karn in the core chamber. You don't belong here, Karn said. Neither do you, Darius replied. They fought blade against blade, fire against fire. Darius was fast, but Karn was stronger. Karn knocked Darius down. I will finish what we started, he said. Then Calith appeared, glowing with power. No, she said. This ends now. She joined the fight. Together, she and Darius fought, Karn matching his every move. Then Virelia arrived. You forgot one thing, she said, stepping into the light. We are not divided. The three of them attacked together. In a final blow, Calith pierced Karn's chest with her blade. He fell, his armor cracking, his eyes fading. The machine world began to shake. He activated the failsafe. Darius shouted. He wanted to destroy everything. Virelia said. We need to escape Calith. Warned, they ran back through the halls as explosions rocked the ground. The roof collapsed behind them. Fires lit the sky. The team reached the ship and took off just as the machine world exploded behind them, breaking apart into glowing dust. From space, looked like a falling star. Back on Zelari Prime, the news spread fast. The rebel leader was dead, and the machine world was gone. The war would not return. Queen Virelia stood before her people, giving a speech. We have seen the worst of war, she said, and the best of peace. Let this victory remind us, we are stronger together. Darius stood beside her, holding his helmet under his arm, and Calith stood on her other side, alive, strong, and finally free. That night, under the twin moons, the three of them sat on the palace balcony. It's over, Calith said. For now, Darius said. Virelia smiled softly. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. They looked at the stars. No longer enemies, no longer broken, just three souls who found hope in each other.